My name is Olga. I'm a youth worker with the Young Moms and Young Women. I've been here for 4 years as a youth worker, and my main role is to support and guide high-risk young women. So when I first started working with Aliana, she was seemed to be this very put together young lady. She had 2 kids, 2 beautiful little boys. So I started working with her and just getting to know her, like the real her, not the front that she puts up for DCF or for anyone else. And she was always willing to come to Olga. So I brought her in for a circle training. And during that circle training, it was pretty extensive. It was 3 days long. And I believe it was on the second day that she came in with her kids. And I'm in the middle of co-keeping this circle when we hear a scream from the bathroom. And we realize, Aliana's not in the circle. One of our staff comes and let us know that she was on the floor crying in the bathroom. And what had happened is that she had relapsed. And she had, unfortunately, used substances here in the building. So we had to take her and the kids, we had to make sure they were safe, take them back to the shelter, and we had to do a 51A. Now, it was really emotional. It was really difficult to see her in that state, to have to do a report. And just not knowing, she was so new, like not knowing if we were just never gonna see her again. So, and this is the part of the youth work and the relentlessness that definitely takes a toll on you, but it's so important. The next day, she got taken away to the hospital. The kids they did an immediate removal for the children. She was taken to the hospital, and the next day, I spoke with the DCF worker, and we're trying to figure out if there's any family member that can take the children so that they're not placed into a foster home. And we're doing all this back work. And I realized I need to know how she's doing. So I had my supervisor go with me to the hospital, and we walked in there and I had to do my own bubbles because I was spinning already while we were driving there. I was like, what if she doesn't want to see me? What if she's mad at me? I'm gonna get emotional. So my supervisor and I walked into that emergency care, and she was in the bed. She wasn't doing too good. She didn't look good. And she saw us, and we kind of just stared at each other for a second, and then she started crying, and she was like, I'm so happy that you came to see me. And I said, you are? And she said, yeah, I haven't been able to talk to anyone. I don't really know what's going on with my kids. I'm scared. And we got closer, and we went into the room. I got closer to her. I just started comforting her, everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna figure everything out together. Is there any family members that the kids can go with? Give me the numbers if you have them. And we started doing all this. And I could see in her face, she was so worried and on the verge of crying. And I said, it's okay. You can cry. And she said, can I hug you? I said, yes. So she just threw herself at me and started hugging me. And I just looked at my supervisor. I could have sworn this girl was gonna punch me in the face when I walked in here. But no, she was actually very grateful that we showed up, and we kept doing that. I kept doing that. I kept going to the hospital to visit her until she was out. And that, I think the fact that she knew that this was a problem that she had, and she wasn't able to confide in anyone without being judged, and the fact that we kept showing up, that helped build our TR, that helped build our relationship. And for all I know, I don't know, right? But for all I know, I'm pretty sure I might be I might have been the only person who didn't judge her for her addiction at the time. So it's been a long road with Aliana. It's been a beautiful road. She has so many layers to her story, like most of our girls do, and it's always learning. Every time we have a conversation, I learn something new from her. She learns something new from me. She's been in and out of jail. She's currently on a bracelet, on probation, but she's really come a long way, and I'm so proud of her, because she was able to do the one thing that a lot of people are not able to do, which is open themselves up to a stranger.
I guess I initially got Roca because I had DCF involvement, well, I still have DCF involvement with my children, and they thought Roca would be a good thing for me to get into the Young Mothers program over here. I was completely against it at first until Olga showed up in my house. And now I'm really thankful for them. Roca has helped me with everything. I mean, when I first came here, like I said, I was young. I was kind of newly becoming an alcoholic. I started to have issues with alcohol. So they saw that whole thing grow, and they helped me get through it all. So where I am now is I'm actually fighting for my children. A lot has happened, and they've just been there with me through the entire thing. Like, I remember when they first got taken away, and I was in the hospital because the reason was because I had too much alcohol in my system. Olga was actually the first person that came, and she told me she was really scared, but I was actually scared until she got there. So that was great for me. They're just helping me get my entire life together at this point. Everything is different in my life. For starters, I am now 2.5 months clean, so that's amazing for me. Couldn't have done it without them. I use CBT pretty much every day. It helps me break my cycles. Actually, without CBT, I wouldn't even know what it means to be in a cycle. So because of that, I can recognize how I feel, and now I can actually handle it in a way where I actually like the outcome of what I'm doing. I don't just freak out and regret it later on. So that's helped me a lot in everyday life. And I'm on the right track to actually getting my kids back with me after so long of not even realizing what I was doing. I am now sober, and I have so much free time because I'm sober that I literally was stuck in a cycle where I had so much to do, and I had so much free time and nothing to do. I was starting to feel unmotivated, constantly anxious, where I'm basically have nothing to do, so I'm anxious. Then I'm anxious, so I give myself nothing to do. So I use CBT to get myself to move it, where now I fill in my time with better things. Like, I come to these classes at Roca, I do my IOP program, I got my gym membership, I'm baking because that's my passion project. I'm trying to go back to school for pastry arts as well. Literally everything, and the motivation for my kids too.
I wish that people would know and understand that when it comes to the high-risk population that we work with, our young women most of the time are just scared. They come off strong, but I think if you walked half of their life, you would probably come off strong too. They tend to be defensive. They tend to be loud. They tend to make a commotion when things don't go their way. But this is the only way that they've ever been heard. And so if you take a moment, I wish people would just take a moment to really listen to them and explore more of why that is, instead of just dismissing them and judging them off the bat. You realize that, first of all, they're kids. They're kids, and they're scared. And, okay. And they're human. And they hurt just as much as we would. So they do the things that they do. They say the things that they say because that is their survival mechanism. That is what they've learned. And we're here, and we're gonna be here until they learn new pathways.